Third down and 20.
Hey everyone, it's JT. Welcome back to another episode of the 3rd and 20 Dynasty Podcast, episode 39. I'm joined by the usual crew of Frank, Jake, and Lounis. Not really a whole lot's happening right now, boys. I'm just going to roll us right into what we've got planned. That is a Superflex Dynasty mock draft. Startup. Yep, it's a startup. We're switching it up. We've done a lot of rookie drafts. The NFL draft's over. We did a post-rookie draft. We're going to go right into the startup. We'll do some previews of divisions in the following weeks because once we get some more OTA news, some cuts, some trades that are likely going to happen. But here we are doing a mock draft. I think Frank's going to have it kind of so that you could see it posted online somewhere if you want to follow along with us. If you're
I've got it on the screen now.
Yeah, if you're listening on podcast, I think it should be up somewhere.
Yeah, if one of y'all can check the stream real quick too to make sure like it's big enough to see.
Yeah, so you can watch us on stream on YouTube too if you're listening to us on podcast. If you need a visual, I mean, we're going to talk through we're not going to take you through every pick. I feel like that would get boring. You know, who has the attention span to listen through 8+ rounds of just mock draft? Instead, we're going to talk about what guys we have different compared to consensus, who we are higher on, who we're lower on, best buys, worst value. All
right, let's start.
Yeah. So, I mean, just to kick us off, obviously, Patrick Mahomes went 1. Where would you guys say in our first round is the biggest discrepancy from the mean? Would it be Christian McCaffrey going 6th overall?
I don't know, just because I feel like savvier Superflex, at least before in the process, because I had actually done a decent amount of research into startup drafts. It seemed like the higher money leagues, a lot of the quarterbacks went very early. So maybe he's a 1 or 2 picks lower than consensus, but generally speaking, most Superflex leagues, Christian McCaffrey I saw going 5 or 6. I think for us, biggest discrepancy is Saquon going pick 12. Lowest I would see him go is pick 11, pick 10. I know I would personally take him over some of the other guys that went. I'm not necessarily shaming the picks. I was just surprised to see him fall all the way to 12.
Yeah. And what's important to note if you're watching us on YouTube or Twitch, the thing is we weren't really paying attention to teams and positional need.
Needs.
Yeah, because we were drafting as 4 people teams, essentially. So, there might be some teams with 4 running backs in the first 4 rounds, which likely wouldn't be the case in a real mock draft. But just looking around, A.J. Brown was the wide receiver 1. Jake, you want to run us through what has you thinking A.J. Brown's wide receiver 1?
I mean, have you seen him play football the last 2 years? The dude's an absolute flat-out stud. I think he's proven, to me, just based on age and production, I think the top 2 receivers in a startup are probably going to be A.J. Brown and Justin Jefferson, just like they went in this draft. I personally just like A.J. Brown more. I think he's a more physical wide receiver, a bigger, stronger wide receiver, and he's done it twice, not only once, so it's proven more. And he's 23, super young, plenty of years left, probably 9 years left if you really wanted to, 10 years left if you really wanted to hold him that whole time. So I just can't. I think for me, he's my wide receiver 1, and get him at pick 111. I think it's a great value here.
Now, my question to you then is, you're actually, you're the Giants fan of our group. What made you choose A.J. Brown over Saquon?
Injury history, lifespan of wide receivers versus running backs. Running backs only play till, they're 27, 28, usually at a high level. Saquon's already 23. He has 5 years left. A.J. Brown easily has probably double the time left as being a top-end wide receiver here as Saquon has it being a top-end running back. I personally, in startup drafts, like to go wide receiver and quarterback heavy early, just because I think those are the 2 positions that do hold the value longer than anyone else. So I think stocking up on those 2 positions is just the way I like to do a startup. I know there's many other ways. So it's kind of a modified no running back strategy almost. And I say I'll figure out the running backs later. If as we go through this, I'm sure we'll talk about a lot of running backs that are going to produce this year fell pretty far into, round 6, round 7. And you can find guys that are going to produce on a year-to-year basis compared to quarterbacks and top-end wide receivers that are just hard to come by, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Now, what's interesting is in our mock draft, and I don't know if this will be the case for other mock drafts, but we had 8 quarterbacks go in the first round. Mahomes, Allen, Murray, Jackson, Herbert, Prescott, Lawrence, and Wilson. And then the second round, we only had Joe Burrow go for quarterbacks. So I kind of that make like Zach Wilson a buy to you guys, or Trey Lance, Justin Fields, whichever one you're the highest on. I mean, personally, I'm Fields. I think Jake is Lance. Frank's Wilson. We're all over the place. But, that's a whole round separation. And is the difference really that large between the likes of Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields to Joe Burrow?
To me, no.
Go ahead, Frank.
Well, I've been kind of pretty adamant on my stance on Joe Burrow, and that I don't think he's a bad player. I liked him a little bit coming out last year. It's just, what have I seen for him to be a first round or very early second round startup pick? I don't think that I would take him over the crop of tier 1 running backs that I have, which stretches as far as probably J.K. Dobbins. So I agree with what JT was kind of alluding to, in that I value Joe Burrow closer to Zach Wilson and Trey Lance than I do to Dak Prescott. And that does not really show up in his price tag. And I think that the reason his price has jumped is because Deshaun Watson disintegrated. So people are trying to fill that hole with Joe Burrow, not because Joe Burrow is a stud fantasy quarterback. I mean, he can be, but I'm not going to pay the stud fantasy quarterback price until I see it. I'd much rather take Russell Wilson, someone that I know that I'm going to get 5 years of elite level production, instead of someone that I have to gamble that I'm going to get 10.
Yeah.
The one thing I have to say about that is I don't necessarily think Joe Burrow is stepping into that, Watson shoes. I don't think that's the reason his price tag is this high. Obviously, if there was no issue with Deshaun Watson, he'd probably be a top 5 pick, probably top 6, whatever it is. He'd be up there. So I still don't think it would really affect Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow would still end up being probably an early second round pick, just as we had him in here. I think that what's really boosting his price right now is just his receiving core is absolutely insane, between T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Mixing behind them. We've talked about the Bengals offense a bunch with a lot of those interesting players, and just to have a quarterback there. Obviously, they need to improve their offensive line, but I think you get a guy that went number 1 overall, showed out pretty decent rookie year before getting hurt. I think people are going to buy into that.
Okay, well, here's my rebuttal, though. Why not have Baker Mayfield in the top 4 rounds then? Not even in the second round. Because Baker Mayfield had just as good, if not a better, rookie season than Joe Burrow. He has just as good of an offense around him, a better offensive line. Played very well last year outside of a couple of 30-plus mile-an-hour win games. Why is his ADP, at least for our draft, the first pick of the 6th round then?
Because Baker's was that high about 2 years ago after his rookie year. And he's not lived up to the hype, so he's fallen a little bit. So, and that's very possible. Joe Burrow could do the same thing, and if you could turn around in 2 years, that's where he could be taken. And I think that's possible, but I also think it's possible he jumps up if he recovers from this injury.
I mean, I think we could get into Baker in a little while. I think he's actually kind of a screaming buy at that price right there. I think first, though, we should, kind of still focus on the second round. And I guess I'll put myself on the hot seat. I took DeAndre Swift and Cam Akers, RB5 and RB6, which I don't think is currently consensus, especially DeAndre Swift, who's in the news like every other day with Anthony Lynn trying to find another way to skewer his value.
Yeah,
it's like,
I was gonna say I wanted to hear the explaining for Swift over. Well, were Swift and Akers, like when you pick them in that order, is that you valuing Swift more?
Yeah. I think.
Okay. So Swift over Akers, Chubb, and Cook.
Yes. Well, Cook's a clear one. If I'm doing a startup, Jake calls me ageist. I just think I want an RB that I know will likely be healthy and stay relevant for the next 3 years. I'm looking at like that 3-year window. So that's where I'm valuing the age. So the likes of DeAndre Swift and Cam Akers, who are the ones that I think can step into these roles of Alvin Kamara, Derrick Henry, those guys that are starting to age out. Even I wouldn't really say Saquon. I think Saquon will still be relevant 3 years from now. Zeke. Those two are probably the two guys I'm really looking at and targeting as far as second round value. For different reasons. I think I'll start with Cam Akers because he's probably less scrutinized, so I'll just kind of blow by him a little bit. Like he's on
disrespect.
What do you mean? Who's disrespecting Cam Akers?
I thought you just said you were going to brush over Cam Akers.
No. I was going to talk about him. I was going to talk about him like quicker because like I feel like he's more consensus in this area at this point. And that would be because you have Matthew Stafford there. You've got a good offense. You're behind Sean McVay, who had Todd Gurley as a strong running back. We saw what Cam Akers was able to do at the end of the year, especially his game against the Patriots, where it looked like they just literally couldn't tackle him. There's a lot of reasons to like Cam Akers. I still do like Cam Akers. I'm picking him as my running back 6. But I just think when you have him, when you have someone like DeAndre Swift, who, you could find like a million excuses, like he's on the Lions, he's got Anthony Lynn skewering him. I'll just try and dismantle it. Like part of what I wanted to talk about in this episode was OTA, so I guess I'll just like dive into it. Anthony Lynn saying different quotes like DeAndre Swift is the B back to Jamal Williams A back. Like Jamal Williams can do better in between the tackles. Like you gotta go find DeAndre Swift the ball more, which to me doesn't really make sense. But like if you're looking at Anthony Lynn's previous offense, like Melvin Gordon would be the A back to Austin Eckler's B back, and both were running back 1s. So that doesn't really concern me. Then he was talking today about, we're recording on Thursday, kind of switching it up. He was talking today about riding the hot hand, which to a lot of people sounds like a committee and just like whoever's good gets the ball. But I put out a tweet, if you want to follow us, 3rd and 20 on Twitter.
I actually thought that was in Swift's favor also.
Yeah, I put out a tweet saying like that's what they were doing with Jonathan Taylor last year. And you had people on Reddit screaming, sell Jonathan Taylor week 6 because he wasn't getting touches because they were riding Nyheim Hines, and even they're putting in Wilkins at times, which really made no sense to me. But talent has a way of finding its way to snaps and touches, like I said on Twitter. And I just think when you compare DeAndre Swift to the likes of Jamal Williams and Kerryon Johnson, Kerryon Johnson's not even there. It'd be like Jamar Jefferson and Todd Gurley potentially. Like DeAndre Swift currently is a much better back than those guys. Like Todd Gurley was the better back 4 years ago, but that was 1 knee ago as well. Like DeAndre Swift is just the better back in this team. So he's going to find his way to snaps and touches. And on this Lions offense where there's not a lot going for them, I do think that's actually a plus for DeAndre Swift. See James Robinson last year. That was my little mini rant, I guess.
I do want to make a small comment, and sorry if this is kind of cheating looking ahead to round 3. So, JT, I am going to compliment one of your later picks to kind of argue against one of your earlier picks.
Okay.
If you told me in a startup I could get Antonio Gibson a round and a half later than DeAndre Swift, I'm taking that every day of the week.
Now, I'll go on like a very quick rant about Antonio Gibson. I do like Antonio Gibson. He's in the Ron Rivera offense. A lot of people are making comparisons to CMC. Like he was a wide receiver in college. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball. I do wonder what his touchdown regression is. It was his first year. This could very well be his mean and his average, and like he could score this many touchdowns this year. Another part that I'm concerned about, though, is we recently saw Patrick Mahomes had foot surgery and was able to come back from it. And
are you talking about the turf toe stuff?
He said he could play today.
Very, very different.
Well,
it's Mahomes isn't out there cutting and trying to hit a hole.
Exactly. No, yeah. So we're on the same page here. Antonio Gibson decided not to get this surgery, which I think, in hindsight, he's probably going to realize he should have got this surgery because he's going to be cutting. He cuts on his front foot, like the front of his foot, which isn't great for your toes. Like it's going to be a nagging injury this year that I'd be concerned about. I mean, it might just be a 1-year thing for Antonio Gibson. It might just be drama each week. Like, is he going to play? Is he going to have all of his touches? Like, is he going to have the right snap share? But that's definitely something that I would start to be worried about and concerned about with Antonio Gibson.
I agree. The thing is that I expect, because this is a toe injury ruined LaDainian Tomlinson. He would have had a longer career if it weren't for a big toe injury. Now, I don't know about the specifics of turf toe and if it's as bad and if you do get this surgery or whatever that you can fully recover or not. I have no idea.
Devontae Adams was able to. I mean, it took him out for that whole season. But
if you can, then if Antonio Gibson is struggling and hurt, I think there's a really good buy opportunity because I already like his price in our startup at 308 that JT nabbed him at. Let's just say he falls to the beginning of the 4th round where Naji Harris and Aaron Jones went, and you can get him at that price in the middle of the season. I think that is a phenomenal buy for any team. Yeah, yes, maybe not necessarily a contender because you have to give up probably win now assets to get him. And if this nagging injury is hurting him, then I mean it's going to be unfortunate. But if he ends up getting the Cortland Sutton treatment to a certain extent, I would love to buy him at a even better price than he is now, which I already think is a good price.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so really quickly, first 2 rounds. Let's just go through who's your favorite pick. It doesn't have to be you.
My favorite pick in the first 2 rounds.
I'm gonna give the nod to Cam Akers at 205. 205 or
yeah, 205.
205. Yeah. I don't know. We all, if you listen to the pod, like I'm a big Cam Akers guy. I think he's a guy that is going to make the leap this year. I just don't see how he doesn't. Like if he gets the touches, he's proven that he could do it. And I think this year McVay is ready to just give it to him. McVay never really likes to, give the ball to rookie running backs. Even Darrell Henderson didn't play a lot his rookie year, and then he took a step forward. Obviously, he was even surpassed this year by the more talented Cam Akers. I'm just looking forward to see what he can do.
Let's try to when we do favorite picks, try to pick one of the 3 others of us.
All right.
Yeah, I mean,
I've got a couple.
I'm not gonna, I had the best pick. I go. Saquon at 112, but I'll pick one real quick. I like J.K. Dobbins at 211 a lot.
I was thinking about that one too. Yeah.
For me, he's in that exact same tier as Akers. I like him. I think maybe Akers may have the small edge, but I like Dobbins as much. I think he's gonna have a really productive season, and getting him at the end of the second, I like a ton.
Okay, this is kind of a cop out, but I have 2. First off is Trevor Lawrence at 109. I think that's just a phenomenal little value pick. He's a guy that you can make an argument should go at 105 or 106, and you get him at 109. I understand he's a rookie. It's just, generally speaking, quarterbacks of that pedigree don't bust. And the other one, this is a surprise one because I'm actually not a huge fan of taking receivers this early, but it's Justin Jefferson at 201.
That was another one I liked.
Yeah, he's just I think that he's truly good enough after watching the All-22 that I would take him at the end of the first round. And I'm usually extremely anti-receiver in the first round of Superflex startups. But Justin Jefferson, I think, is good enough to break the mold there.
Yeah. So I'm kind of getting the scraps right here. The ones that I probably would have said were Dobbins and Jefferson. But, Nick Chubb, who's could be the RB – it might be bold of me, but Nick Chubb, who could be the RB1 this year, I don't think it's out of the question for Nick Chubb to be the RB1 this year.
I don't think it's
getting him in the middle of the second. That does seem like a solid value pick. He's also younger than people would think he is, and he has less tread on the tires than also. So he's someone that still semi-young who still has time to produce. Getting him in the middle of the second, I like. Now we'll move on to the third round. I definitely think I have a gutsy pick here to start the third. That's Kyle Pitts.
I like it.
At 301. I mean, I got to practice what I preach, right? I think it was literally last episode where I was taking you all down an adventure, telling you how Kyle Pitts is the unicorn that we are looking for. Like, Kyle Pitts is that guy who is going to break the mold of tight ends, and he is going to be one that just starts right away. And, you know, that being a cheat code tight end, we've seen what Travis Kelce's been able to do like the past 5 years and basically just win championships for teams because no one else can come close to him most of the time. You know, getting that in Kyle Pitts, who's like 10 years younger than Travis Kelce, why not pick him this early? So that's what went through my brain. And I was like, why not pick him this early? So that's why I did. I don't know if
I like that pick. I was trying to take him at one of 304 or 305.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I like that pick. I know Frank wanted to take him too. We had a mini QB.
Yeah, I think that's what I was going to talk about, Lounis, was this little mini run on rookie quarterback. So at 302, 303, and 305, we took Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, and Justin Fields in that order. A little cheeky run on some quarterbacks following, you know, Trevor Lawrence going in the first round. What are your guys' thoughts on these quarterbacks? Obviously, we all like different guys. Frank, you took Wilson. I took Lance. JT, you took Fields. So just as we thought we would take Fields.
Lounis took Fields.
Sorry, I just kind of assumed on that one.
I know. I would assume I took Fields too.
But we all took.
No, I wanted Lance.
JT would have if he was there.
If I was there, Fields would have been gone. Well, I would have taken Fields right after Pitts. If Pitts wasn't on the board, Fields would have been my 301. But yeah,
exactly.
Sorry.
So
Sorry,
I think this run right here just shows how valuable quarterbacks are. We're taking guys that obviously are very high draft picks, but they've not taken a single snap in the NFL. And they're not even obviously Trevor Lawrence is just a different caliber of player compared to these three guys. I know they went 2, 3, and 12 in the draft or whatever they did, but still Trevor Lawrence is on a whole nother level. So I just think this shows exactly how much people value youth and how much people value quarterbacks in a Superflex league, which is obviously exactly what you want in any Superflex league.
I just want to say,
yeah, it's interesting how close and valuable we are.
I know we're not supposed to pat ourselves on the back with our own picks, but dude, Calvin Ridley at wide receiver 8 is still one of my favorite picks in every startup. Middle of the third round, I will take him every single time. I don't know how you guys don't see it. I don't know how you don't see it.
The only one that I would say, the only one I could really justify taking Ridley over is Lamb and maybe Chase. If Chase is a tough one, but
thanks guys.
Sorry, Jake.
Both my picks.
Everyone's hating on Jake.
I really like
Thanks,
Chase.
guys.
I it's just like I haven't seen what he could do yet. I know what Calvin Ridley could do, but we're talking like Devontae Adams, who put up a near historic year. Tyreek Hill, who's tied to Mahomes and is always producing. DK Metcalf, I just can't really justify Calvin Ridley over too many of these guys. I do get it's a good pick though. I'd be happy walking away with Calvin Ridley at that point. But
dude, he's a point machine, especially now without Julio.
The board fell perfectly.
The board. It's gonna be. I love Calvin Ridley. I think that bona fide top 5 receiver. He has a play style that'll let him last a long time. He's a route running technician. I love Ridley. So okay, let's go on to the fourth round though. We've kind of already exhausted the third.
Well, actually, I did have one question for you about the third round, Frank. You took Derrick Henry. He was RB12 after finishing RB 2 on the year.
Yeah, RB2, RB3.
Yeah. My one question is, if you were to gun to your head, how many years does Derrick Henry still produce RB1 value?
Top 12 running back value, I'm thinking 2 or 3 seasons, to be honest.
Yeah.
I do think that he is a little bit built different. And so, because I completely understand. I am an Ezekiel Elliott owner in our league. I am scared shitless that this dude is going to suck Okay. He looks like a different running back than the one that I had 3 years ago. And I accept that. Like, I'm not going to sell him low because I'm a contender. Like, I'd rather take the upside, but I am very scared that he is just going to suck ass. Derrick Henry, I am extremely confident that he is going to he's going to have another top 5 rushing yard season. And unless he gets hurt, I just don't see him falling off the cliff that is apparently there. I wasn't necessarily in love with that pick at 310. I think that there was a clear argument that you could have taken Aaron Jones, Darren Waller, or even like Aaron Rodgers. To me, I was considering there. Stephon Diggs. Like, there were plenty of other guys that you could have taken there, but he's just Derrick Henry. He's going to be an RB1 next year. I am confident that unless he gets hurt, he is going to be a stud running back, and you don't really get too many more of those after 310.
I have an interesting stat for you guys, which I just would be shocked if someone else told me this. I found Next Gen Stats tweeted out most 15-plus mile-per-hour rush attempts for the 2020 season. Number 1, Kyler Murray. He had 94 rush attempts that reached 15-plus miles per hour. Number 2, Derrick Henry. That's crazy to me because when you think Derrick Henry, when you think Derrick Henry, you think like he needs a lot of like time to like get up to speed.
Fast,
he's fast. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember that long touchdown he had against Houston. Like, he was outrunning corners and safeties with decent angles down the field.
To be fair, most running backs are outrunning Houston, but that
was a common theme last year.
I just mean, at least like it wasn't even like they were like missing the tackle. Like, they just couldn't catch him.
Yeah, the thing is, Derrick Henry does not have great lateral quickness, and when he stops his feet on the outside zone runs, like that's the name of the game. But if he's able to keep his legs moving, straight line speed is fine, and his vertical quickness is good. His lateral quickness is not as quick as he is vertically, which is actually interesting because that's usually not the case.
Takes some time for that big body to change momentum.
Once he gets going, he's quite literally a truck.
Talk about a win now team, though. If you're looking at like, we weren't drafting with teams in mind. This was just like strictly value where you take people. But if we were looking at how the board kind of shook up in the first 3 rounds, Frank's got his team with the 10th pick in the first round. He's got Russell Wilson, Alvin Kamara, Derrick Henry as his first 3 rounds. That team's contending like right away. Like, I'd put that team as like the championship favorite, I feel like.
Yeah, and you got my team at 107 stocking up on QBs.
All right. Well, I guess with it now we'll move into the 4th round, and then we could kind of talk about which picks we really liked.
Can I go real quick in the 4th? Because I have a question I want to ask you guys.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
What is your opinion on him at 406? And like, is that too early for you guys? Because he was someone that I knew I was going to come away with. I was really curious to see if someone would jump him for me because I personally have him above Justin Fields. I think he's right around Trey Lance, but I'm not going to pick him over there. No one else is going to pick him over there. So he's generally going in the 4th round. Like, what is your opinion on Aaron Rodgers? I'm curious.
It's hard to kind of depends. 37-year-old quarterback. That's the opinion.
Unless you're – go ahead, Jake.
He's put up an MVP caliber season. He probably will put up close to another one this year, if we're going to be honest here. So, if you really want to – it depends on how you want to play this draft. If you want to play this draft as I want to win early in this dynasty, sure, spend a pick on Aaron Rodgers. I don't think it's going to – I think that'll help you. But if you want to play the long game here, picking Aaron Rodgers in the 4th round is going to come back and bite you.
I was going to say, it depends on how your team's looking at. Like, if you're drafting guys, like, you find yourself drafting, like Kelsey and, like, Derrick Henry or, like, I don't know, like, Dalvin Cook, even though Dalvin Cook's still really young. Like, if you find yourself drafting a ton of win-now pieces, I think it makes sense earlier. But if you find yourself kind of going youth-heavy in the draft, it's hard to justify taking Aaron Rodgers very early if you have a really young team.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just more confident on him playing 3 to 4 more years than
I think he'll play 3 to 4 more years at a good level.
It won't be in Green Bay, I'll tell you that much.
That's fine. I don't need him in Green Bay.
It doesn't need to be in Green Bay. Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers makes Aaron Rodgers. Green Bay does not make Aaron Rodgers.
You're not wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I just don't know if we'll find another pairing of Devontae Adams and somewhere else. So,
okay, before we move on though, Darren Waller, 404. What do we think about the value there?
That was me. I picked him. Go ahead, Lounis.
I was gonna say I liked it. Personally, I don't know what you're about to say, JT, but obviously, what are their names? Obviously, Pitts and Kittle were off the board. Kelsey is still like if
I
can't tight end one next year.
I can't justify taking Waller over Kelsey. I'm sorry, I can't.
Oh no, I was gonna say for a startup in Dynasty, I'll take Waller. If you're asking me for the next year or two, it's Kelsey. Waller's still only 28. He just started playing tight end 2 years ago. And who are the Raiders receivers? Who's Derek Carr going to be throwing to next year?
Brian Edwards.
You just answered your own question. Who is Derek Carr going to be throwing to? Who's Patrick Mahomes going to be throwing to?
I don't know, Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I mean, if they're both in the same spot where it's like the team hasn't really added, much to either offense that will offset either player. I mean, I just think Darren Waller will still be probably performing at an elite level 3 years from now, where I'm not sure if Travis Kelce's in the league 3 years from now. Like, I don't know why Travis Kelce wants to still be playing at
these tight ends, man, they fall off cliffs. That's the one thing that we know.
No. Yeah, I was going to say, Kelce will be in the league, but the thing with the tight end drop-off is it's scary. Like, we saw it with Gronk years ago, where he was playing at elite level, then all of a sudden he just wasn't the same. You saw it with Zach Ertz this year. You don't know when it's going to hit, but it's just going to come suddenly.
Every single tight end in recent memories had this just cliff. In 1 year, it's a cliff.
Yeah. And I don't think it'll be this upcoming season for Kelce. I expect Kelce to be the tight end one next year, assuming he stays healthy. It'll be close probably between him and Kittle, and Waller will be in the discussion. Assuming, again, all of them play all games. But, no, I love Pitts. You know that. Give him 2 years. Give him 2 years.
I guess the interesting question.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Lounis. I thought you were done.
No, go ahead.
DJ Moore, wide receiver 10.
I love that.
Shocked me a little bit. Did any of remember we did our receiver rankings? Did any of us have him top 10?
Me.
Yeah,
I agreed with JT when we talked about it.
I might have had him 11 or 12, but I had him close enough where it's fine with me.
Yeah, I had him similar to Jake, one of those last 3 wide receiver ones. He is in when I came up on this pick, I was really torn between him and McLaurin. I think Hopkins is in that discussion as well. Again, it's kind of one of those, do you want the production right now because Hopkins is in his prime, or would you rather the youth? I had been kind of drafting young, and I was just like, I'm just going to take kind of the younger one. DJ Moore's still only 24, nowhere near his peak yet. I just really like him here. Between him and McLaurin, though, was a tough choice because I really like McLaurin too. I think Jake took McLaurin the pick after, which I really liked that pick.
Let me throw out a stat to you guys that you guys are probably familiar with him, Marcus Mosher. He tweeted out most total yards by wide receiver before the age of 24. Number 1, Randy Moss. Number 2, Mike Evans. Number 3, DeAndre Hopkins. Number 4, DJ Moore. So he's an elite company right there with most receiving yards before age 24. I just think he has like 2 or 3 touchdowns like each year, maybe 4. I gotta check his stats. I'm not looking at it currently.
He does not score in that offense.
Yeah. Which, I mean, how much can you blame him when it's like Teddy Bridgewater throwing the touchdowns, or it's what's his name, Kyle Allen? Like I can't blame him.
I think the bigger issue is whenever they get inside the 10-yard line, they just fucking hand it to CMC for like 10 times in a row until he gets in.
Also fair.
I also think Curtis Samuel being gone is going to help him a little bit.
They do have Terrace Marshall there too.
Whoa, hold on. We got to move on here because Ryan Tannehill went QB 18.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
What?
I know.
That's in the next round.
That was a steal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is insane because I was thinking about taking him so many times.
Well, Frank, which of the QBs ahead of him are you taking Tannehill over? And I like Tannehill at 18. I think where Jake got him was a steal also. I'm just interested. Which of the QBs ahead of him would you take Tannehill over?
I'll probably take him over Tua.
No, but okay. Go on.
Jalen Hurts is definitely questionable. Obviously, Deshaun Watson's a question mark because just the whole situation. And then Fields, I think, is the last one. I'm taking Stafford. I love Stafford.
My issue with Tannehill is I do think he's always just very underrated. But then looking around, I just don't know who to put him over. I always feel like this guy is like, he is a good buy. But then I also at the same time, I'm like, well, who do I replace him with? And Frank threw out some names. I'd probably say Jalen Hurts. The other ones, I don't think I'd agree with.
It's close, though. The one thing I will say with Tannehill is that it really does feel like we've seen the best he had to offer. Compared to a lot of these other guys, we have not seen the best that they have to offer. So,
hopefully. Yeah.
Well, like, you can't argue to me that Jalen Hurts doesn't have a higher ceiling than Ryan Tannehill. Jalen Hurts could easily be a top 5 fantasy quarterback, whether you want to admit it or not. The guy has the tools to. He just needs to fix some minor issues. Justin Fields, I don't have to sell anyone on him. Matt Stafford in an actual offense could just light up the league on an Aaron Rodgers-esque level.
Hurts started 4 games? Yeah. Hurts started 4 games. Tannehill played the whole season. Hurts outrushed him by 60 yards. So
he averaged 69 rushing yards a game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, nice.
And also one of those Hurts starts was only until half.
Yeah. So I mean, there's definitely a reason.
Thanks for bringing that up, Lounis.
0 regrets. Fuck the Giants.
I like Jalen Hurts. I know we just released Jalen Hurts analysis.
I watched
on the
that
channel.
video, Frank. I liked it. Also, shout out to Mrs. Hurts.
Yeah, shout out to Mrs. Hurts for the comment on the vid, watching the vid.
I'm gonna move past that. All right, so it seems like we snuck our way into the 5th round somehow.
Yeah, we skipped over most of the 4th round.
Yeah, it's my bad. I just saw that Ryan Tannehill QB 18. I was like, what the hell happened last night?
Hold on, well, real quick. What were each of you a pick that you really liked in the 4th round?
Well, so the one question I had before we get to that, Lounis, is just I think we're lower than consensus on Naji Harris. I think that's always been the case, but we have Naji Harris as running back 15. If you look at Keep Trade Cut, he's running back 8, which is like a very large discrepancy, if you ask me. Jake was the one who actually pulled the trigger and picked Naji Harris in the 4th round.
I just thought it was too good a value at that spot. I understand, like I was going between the 2 rookie running backs, him and Javonte, who went the next pick, coincidentally. I just went Naji Harris here. I've been watching a lot of Naji lately just because he looks really good, man. And I think there's no doubt that he's really good, and the Steelers team is going to be pretty good this year. So if you're looking for a 1-year back, and then after this, I'm a little questionable just because of Big Ben. I think the Steelers will figure it out, and I think if they have to, they'll just ride Naji Harris to figure it until they do. So I don't think it's a bad pick either way if you went with either of these rookie running backs.
I'm pretty sure he only went like half a round below his ADP, though, in our draft.
Yeah, and I was going to say with Naji, anyone who's questionable after him, like, I think we can all agree Naji's going to have the best rookie year out of the running backs. I know some of us like Javonte more. I like Javonte more in the long term. But Naji's going to have the best rookie year. He's going to have a shit ton of value next offseason.
Yeah, he's going to have the most opportunities.
He's going to get He's getting a ton of touches. You'll be able to get, if you want to keep him, obviously, because he's young and he's talented. But if you wanted to move him because you're worried about the Steelers' future, you can get a shit ton for him by this time next year.
I still don't like
so
Naji.
That's why I'm cool.
That's all I got.
My favorite pick, though,
you don't.
My favorite pick was either Jacobs or Hurts.
Dude, Jacobs at running back 17 is a crime.
I like Jacobs.
I don't love Jacobs.
I don't love Jacobs either, but at running back 17 for a 23-year-old running back coming off 2,000-yard seasons, you out of your mind?
No.
Can we get a couple
I still don't love Jacobs.
JT's scared of Kenyon Drake.
I'm not scared of Kenyon Drake, but it is weird.
No one ever. Not even NFL defenses are scared of Kenyon Drake.
I'm just like, if I'm a Jacobs owner, I'm more upset with like Gruden and the offense and what's going on. Like I just they gave Kenyon Drake a lot of money when they really didn't have to. I don't think there was that much of a market for Kenyon Drake, and
There was
you're already
Kenyon Drake. I don't give a shit about if I'm a Jacobs owner. I'm more annoyed about their offensive line.
that's also
They released,
yeah.
But no, I do agree though with Frank. Getting Jacobs at that value is a steal. That's incredibly good value for Jacobs. But I'm just talking about Jacobs in general. The offensive line part's annoying.
So we're focusing on the third and fourth round. I mean, obviously, if I had to pick one, I'd probably say Justin Fields. I just think he's my quarterback too, so I'd have him over Trey Lance and Zach Wilson. So I would have picked him earlier. That's really my justification for that one. Who would you guys say is the best pick?
Are we saying just fourth round or fourth and third?
You say third and fourth. Third and fourth.
Okay. I really liked Gibson at 308 RB10. And I really liked. I have a couple. Let's see more. I really love Diggs at the very end of the third round. He just came off a wide receiver one season.
Yeah, that's a great pickup, dude. That is a great pick.
See, like I was gonna say, I picked Diggs, and I wasn't gonna pat myself on the back. So thanks for bringing it up, Lounis.
I was really hoping you wouldn't, but I was like,
it would be so funny if we just never
picked right after you twice.
But similar to what Frank said about Ridley at 8, I have Diggs at the same thing. I think they're pretty much the same age, same type of player, and I think getting them in this mid to late third round for both of those guys is a great pickup.
Yeah, I mean, Diggs is in the better situation, too, if we want to be fair. Like, he's just got gunslinger Josh Allen throwing it to him. All right, Frank, did you have any other picks you liked, or are we going to move on to the fifth?
I thought D-Hop at 4'11", whoever took him had a good head on their shoulders.
You're not scared by the eventual emergence of Christian Kirk?
Don't worry, he's coming. He's coming, JT.
It's gonna be this year. We promise, guys.
Honestly, I kind of wish I had Christian Kirk back on my team because I just hold him to the end. I don't know what.
It's Marcus Mariota's year, guys. It's Marcus Mariota's year.
All right, so fifth round. I guess first thing that stands out is T.J. Hawkinson picked one pick behind Travis Kelce, tight end 5. I don't really disagree with it, but Jake, why don't you let us? Yeah, let us know what you're thinking there.
I wanted to get a tight end that's not in the wasteland, and he's the last guy I have pretty much. I mean, there's a few guys.
Okay.
There's a few guys like that are in like the semi wasteland for me, where it's like half the time they do something, half the time they just completely put up a dud. So I really like T.J. Hawkinson. Obviously, Detroit's a tough situation, but he's not going anywhere. He's very, very young. It's going to be his 3rd year in the league. Just a guy that
There's
a
good chance he leads the team in catches next year.
I think he's probably going to lead the team in targets, if I had to guess. I mean, there's no one there that's going to take targets from T.J. Hawkinson. So for the foreseeable future, I think T.J. Hawkinson's going to be, 150 target kind of guy. So we'll see what happens.
I do want to go on like a semi kind of rant, just real quick. When we were talking about targets, has nothing to do with TJ Hawkinson, but it does have to do with the lines and targets. I do think Amon-Ra St. Brown is starting to get overvalued. We did a poll on our Twitter. Again, I'm going to plug again, 3rd and 20 on Twitter. There's an underscore. Yeah, follow us. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Tylan Wallace were leading the poll. I put out a poll. What's late 2nd, early 3rd round receiver in Superflex rookie mock drafts will gain the most value? It was Wallace and Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then also Nico Collins and Amari Rodgers. And the difference was Wallace and Amon-Ra St. Brown were picked in the 4th round, while Collins and Rodgers were picked in the 3rd round. Yet Collins and Rodgers had the least percent. They were tied for the least amount, which I've said before on this podcast. I'll just quickly reiterate it. Day 2 picks, as in 2nd and 3rd round wide receivers, are like infinitely more likely to hit than day 3 picks, which means 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. So I just think you're kind of playing with fire if you're thinking Amon-Ra St. Brown. Oh, look, there's no one on this team to get targets. Like, it's going to be him. I don't think it is going to be him.
It's going to be Hawkinson and Swift.
Maybe Perryman. Maybe Cephas. I don't even think Cephas would be one. Like, I just...
Whoa. Quintez Cephas is kind of the dude. I don't want to hear it.
The dude? Well, the dude on the dude's team would be...
He's not the dude on that team.
He's the dude. He's the dude's dude.
Yeah. He is the dude's dude. He's the dude.
All right. I sent this off. I'm sorry. This is my fault.
JT, wait, no. JT.
Yes.
Let me hear your rationale, because I was a little bit surprised by this to see you take Keenan Allen over guys like Brandon Ayuk, Chase Claypool, Jalen Waddle. I'm not saying it's a bad pick. I actually like the pick. I was just surprised to see you pick him over, especially Ayuk. Like, I was shocked to see that.
The ageist himself.
Yeah. I mean, I just think you were talking about earlier before the podcast, players that you should get a first for that you probably won't get a first for. I think Keenan Allen is one of those guys. I mean, maybe you might be able to get a first.
Dude, I could definitely get a first for Keenan Allen.
But I just think he's so underrated.
Yeah,
he's so underrated all the time. Yeah, it would be. He's so underrated all the time where it's like, if he didn't miss games, he would have easily been a wide receiver 1 this year. And I just think Keenan Allen has the best chance of giving me 3 straight years of wide receiver 1 numbers over these other guys, right? Like you mentioned Claypool and Ayuk, and I don't even know who else you mentioned. But when I look at those guys, I think they're solid. They're definitely much younger. I just don't know if they're wide receiver 1 potential. Like, Ayuk's stuck on a team with Kittle and Debo. And, is he really much better than either of those two as a pass catcher? No. And, you kind of have to be if you're going to be that wide receiver 1. And then Claypool's stuck with Juju and Deontay Johnson. And he's
Juju's
also
gone after this year.
Yeah, he probably is. But but so might be Big Ben. And then who's throwing the ball to Claypool? So he also had a crazy touchdown.
Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah.
Ohio State.
The Ohio State.
Mason Rudolph.
He has the best throwing mechanics we've ever seen.
Exactly. What the Ben Roethlisberger quote where it's like he could throw it through a car wash and it'd stay dry or something.
Still won't get wet.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know.
It's a good thing.
It went through those.
He'll miss the car wash.
Those glass windows where you can wash a car. Yeah, you can wash.
It
goes through the window. Yeah. So
he just won't see the car wash.
It didn't reach the
Dude,
final.
He got the LASIK. He's good now. He's all good. He can see.
He'll fumble before he gets it out.
He can throw it through a strip club, though. I'll tell you that much. All right.
He won't get in trouble for that this year. At least no more.
Probably. Well, if he's vaccinated, who knows?
I don't know how the strip clubs are in Pittsburgh though.
We're so off topic at this point, but I don't know. That was my rationale. I like Keenan Allen. I always did.
I like him too.
Yeah.
He's gonna get fed.
He is.
Again.
He is. Yeah. Keenan Allen is the easy wide receiver 1 on this team. I don't think there's any question about that. So, all right. Anything else you guys want to point out?
No, just moving on to feed me. I think the guy that this is his celebration fell a little far. Zeke.
Yeah, I can't even.
Dude, you can have Zeke. Listen, I told you, I own Zeke. Like, I honestly am thinking about taking Ronald Jones over him.
At 602?
Yeah, running back 20 is kind of crazy, but
are we on the 6th round now? Okay.
Yeah, we kind of blew through the 5th. I mean, we talked about Tannehill before. I don't really want to talk about Deshaun Watson.
I'll talk about Watson.
So,
I can say I liked your Miles Sanders pick. I think he's gonna have a good year with Jalen Hurts and the offensive line healthy.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of crazy that he was picked 501, and then we basically went a whole round without picking another running back. And then
I really wanted him. I almost picked him at earlier in the 4th. I'm trying to be on biased possible. I do legitimately like him for next year with the O-line.
I'd much rather have Sanders than Naji Harris. I mean, that's just me.
Yeah.
But going back to Zeke, I RB20 is pretty crazy, but like there's
You can't
always
be mad
that
at
chance.
RB20.
Yeah, there's always that chance that he just like isn't. I'm not mad at the pick. I'm just like picking other people over him, like looking at him. There's always the chance that Zeke just isn't Zeke this year, and then he's just worth nothing. So
yeah, I agree.
no, Frank. No, Frank.
That's a no-go. That's a no-go.
No.
Dang. I had a great joke, but
we're gonna have to censor Frank on this one. We'll just pretend like you said it. We'll laugh. You can believe it.
Ha 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 ha. Okay. Dude, I want to say the joke though. It's really not that bad. It's just.
It's pretty bad.
Is it though? Is
I don't
it?
see the issue.
I don't
see the issue either.
He wasn't able to make our draft stream. I heard he was busy with some other
Let's
stuff.
just say Deshaun Watson showed a lot of flashes this offseason, okay?
I don't condone it, but it is funny. Funny is funny.
I don't. Jake's leaving.
Moving on.
See you, Jake.
Jake lost. I'll see you later.
TBT when I mixed up condone and condemn. That was a tough one. I
thought about that.
All right. We don't like Aaron Hernandez. He murdered.
So wait, are we? Who's the next? So 5th and 6th round, we have to decide who we like the most.
Well, we haven't even gone through the 6th round. We're kind of on a train wreck right now. But looking at the 6th round, we talked about Baker Mayfield. I think that's a great pick. Something that we were questioned on before, or at least I was I'll defend it right now. I picked Noah Fant and Mark Andrews back-to-back, tight end 6 and tight end 7. And to me, it's kind of at the point where I don't really like Dallas Goddard as much as probably most other people do. And I'd say this is like the cutoff for me as far as tight end ones really go, like the actual tight end ones. I think
my
after
cutoff
this,
is right after.
I think most people
Goddard
would have. Yeah, most people would have Goddard in there. But once you get after Goddard, they're all kind of like the same to me. Like all these tight ends, like maybe they score a touchdown this week, maybe they don't. Like that's basically where you're getting your points.
I guess there are kind of better ones after that group. Like you could say like Tanyan and Logan
Welcome
Thomas,
back, Jake.
kind of.
Yeah, like kind of,
But
but not enough for me to like draft them. That like
they're the
drafting
biggest. They're the biggest tumbleweeds of the wasteland.
they're the cactus in the wasteland. They're there.
They're the biggest cactus.
Yeah. All right. So that's kind of my logic as to why I picked them.
I was
Waddle.
more curious that you picked Kirk Cousins and Mac Jones 6-12 and 7-01 back-to-back.
Well, all right. Kirk Cousins, I do think. Well, these two guys in a similar vein. I'm not really. I used to like Carson Wentz. I used to try to defend him, but I mean, this is kind of his make or break year.
At 7-01.
Yeah,
Kirk Cousins, I'm just okay. I don't hate that pick, but I'm not like crazy. But Mac Jones, I really like.
With these guys, I do think they're the last of the kind of top quarterbacks where they're going to be your quarterback twos for the next 3 or so years.
What's interesting is after those picks, I was going to say the next quarterback wasn't taken until 2 rounds later, pretty much.
What do you mean? Carson Wentz got picked like 5 picks later.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I missed Wentz. Okay. Well, ignoring Wentz. Wentz was the only one in the next 2 rounds until eventually Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Of course, the Eagles fan is ignoring Wentz.
I don't even know who that is.
All right. Do we want to just quickly break down rounds 5 and 6? Like what picks we liked?
What picks we liked?
I hate giving Jake credit, but I really like T. Higgins as wide receiver 14. I'm trying to trade for T. Higgins from Jake, and Jake's being a bully about it.
I liked. Oh God, I don't want to give Jake another compliment. I like Tannehill at QB 18, 5'11". What else did I really like? Mike Evans at 6'11" was a steal.
I don't want to say it, man. Just like
you can say it. You can say it. I thought it was.
I've got so many jokes just going around.
I
like so many.
Myself. I can't compliment myself, so I said I would only pick other people's picks. So my other one was Mike Evans at the end of the 6th round. I thought was a steal.
Hell yeah, dude! Mike Evans in the 6th. I don't know why every single startup I ever do around 6'11 to 6'12, there's always just a nasty receiver. For our dynasty startup, it was Stephon Diggs. This year it'll be Mike Evans, apparently. My favorite pick, though, from rounds 5 and 6. Keenan Allen, I definitely like a lot. I thought Claypool was a pretty good pickup. But Michael Thomas at 608, I think, is a nice snag. I think that's a really fire pickup. He was wide receiver 1, a first-round startup pick a year ago, and now you're able to pick him up in the 6th at the middle to end part of the 6th round. I think that's a good value buy there, especially if he actually plays this year. He's a dude that can really put up some legit wide receiver 1 numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much if he just stays healthy, which last year was like kind of the first year where he had injuries throughout the entire year.
Jake, you got anything to add to that?
I mean, you each picked like 3 guys, so like no.
I picked one. I
keep picking multiple guys.
I'm just saying there's another pretty good pick. You can.
All right, let's just move on to 7th round then. Our last 2 rounds, 7th and 8th, we probably won't have time for any other ones. 7th round, I'm looking at the one that sticks out to me right now is Trey Sermon. Lounis picked him RB24, pick 705. Lounis, I mean, you're picking Trey Sermon there, so clearly you think he's going to become the starter. At what point do you think Trey Sermon is the starter?
When Mostert pulls his hammy in the 2nd carry of the game.
Mostert's going to probably get hurt at some point. I'll take kind of a conservative approach to it and go week 10 or 11. We start to see him get a majority of the carries, and then I think next year he'll be pretty. I don't think an every down back bell cow, but he'll be getting the most touches out of any back on that team next season. I think he starts to take over towards the second half of the season this year. So week 11, 12-ish.
Okay.
He was a 2nd round pick, correct?
3rd. Pick 88.
3rd. Yeah. So early in the 3rd though, or no, mid-3rd.
Looking around, I do think, although I don't like Carson Wentz, I do think quarterback 22 still does feel low for Carson Wentz because, I mean, he's still young.
Yeah, mid-7th is low.
We're comparing him.
Dude. Who are you putting him over?
That's the thing. I'm not picking him over any of these guys, but
I could easily see him going over Kirk Cousins.
Well, Kirk Cousins, Mac Jones, sure, but other than that, he still puts him at quarterback 19.
Jones, I could give Wentz over Kirk, especially with the young stud behind Kirk waiting. It's about to take over. I got to steal that pick from Frank at some point this draft. Frank, you better watch out.
Wait, what happened?
He wants to take Mond.
Oh man, you cover.
All right, looking around, other.
I like the run on receivers from 708 to 802, aside from Juju and Pittman.
Well,
yeah, Frank, you ruined the run.
Yeah, what?
Ronald Jones.
Dude, okay, I have to talk about this. I have to get this.
Okay.
Ronald Jones is easily the best startup pick ever. Dude, you do not get. When do you ever get
a strong statement?
Dude, answer me this: when are you ever getting 1,000-yard runner at the beginning of the 8th round? The 8th round.
Well, I mean, I agree with you. I put out.
He's only 23.
Ronald Jones.
He's only 23.
Yeah. Wait, you did? I was gonna do that.
I put out a tweet a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago.
That's fine. In Twitter world, it's 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep Ronald Jones tweets out. I mean, I was kind of comparing. I'm not saying Ronald Jones should be going above Derrick Henry in not Derrick Henry, Naji Harris in startups, but I just think the comparison between the two is interesting. Where it's
I'm not saying that Ronald Jones should be going over Christian McCaffrey, but there's definitely an argument to be made.
No, not Derrick Henry. Let's see. Here, I put what running back is only 7 months older than Naji Harris and finished as RB27 in 2019 and RB15 in 2020, and that's Ronald Jones. And I said Naji is running back 9 according to Keep Trade Cut, while Jones is running back 31. I just think like we've seen improvement from Ronald Jones. He's finished as basically a running back 2 and then almost a running back 1 last year. There's just a lot of improvement that we've seen in Jones, and he's still young. Like he's still 23. Going to be 24. Yeah.
Well, here's the argument that I have as well for Ronald Jones is that the only player, at least in my opinion, I guess maybe two, if you look at the 8th round, who's the one dude that you're going to give up a first-round pick for? There's like 2, maybe 3. I think it's Ronald Jones, Rashad Bateman, and Laviska Shenault are the 3 guys. Maybe Robert. No, not even Robert Woods. Like those are at least in my a late first-round pick. Yeah, I think there's an argument to be made off the season he had last year.
I mean, just looking at in a Superflex draft, I think Bateman can. I've seen Bateman fall like 203, 204.
No, Bateman I can understand. I don't understand Shenault.
Owner's not selling for a second.
Yeah, you're not getting a second.
Maybe for an early second. Because here's the question: would you rather have Rondale Moore or Shenault? Rondale Moore is an early second.
Probably Shenault.
There's a good argument for Shenault, man. Like he had a phenomenal rookie year. He's right on track. Dude, we went over it. There was like those 5 receivers that just are on pace to be good wide receiver 2s with wide receiver 1 upside. It was Mooney, Gabriel Davis, Shenault, Judy, and there was one more. And Judy, like the thing is, Judy was expected to be, right? So like that doesn't even count to a certain extent because he's a first-round pick. You're expected to be a wide receiver 2 your first year. Dude, like 40% of first-round pick receivers break out in their rookie year.
My only concern with Shenault, and I do like Shenault, right? But my only concern, it's not even really his fault. It's Urban Meyer. I don't know what Urban Meyer wants to do with Shenault because we've talked all this time about like the Curtis Samuel role and like how Shenault would be a really good fit for the Curtis Samuel role.
They're going to give that to Etienne. That's or whatever. I can't say his name.
Etienne.
Yeah, we learned that just now.
Etienne. I don't fucking know.
Just think of the 3 letters.
Etienne. It sounds like something from
just
Star
say the
Wars.
3 letters. Yeah, say the 3 letters.
I just keep thinking it's like Medellin, like it's from Entourage. Medellin.
No.
What? What?
I don't know. That's what runs through my head. If we're going to be honest, that's what runs through my head. Has anyone seen Entourage?
Great show.
I know what you're talking about, Jake.
Great show.
What?
Here's the point.
Okay, well, going back to the topic at hand, I think that Ronald Jones, though, of all this tier of running backs, of 8th round picks, it's Ronald Jones and Bateman are the 2 players that I would legitimately, and I guess Rondale Moore too, are the players that I would be willing to give up a very late first round pick for. And he's a running back that just got 1,000 yards. He's in a good offense. I understand the concerns, but the concerns are 1,000% priced in to the fact that you could get him in the 8th round or 7th round of a startup.
I completely agree, Frank.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I thought that was a steal. And
I mean, though, in that same vein, I don't know about you guys. I mean, you guys probably don't agree with it, but I traded
Curtis Samuel.
Which one?
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's Curtis Samuel. Oh no,
it said D Samuel.
Oh, sorry. So my thing is, I traded for him from Lounis.
Well, we got 2 Curtis Samuels now.
Odell was a good pick there.
I'll sort it out. Don't worry. I'm sure Deebo Samuel's supposed to be.
I think it's right here. Deebo 712.
So my thing though is, I still think OBJ has it.
Forgot about Deebo.
Way to go, Jake. All right, my take. I still think OBJ has it. I still think OBJ is a strong contender to lead the Cleveland Browns in receptions, yards, touchdowns, all the above categories, and putting the case for is not wide receiver 1 overall, but wide receiver 1 numbers. Like I still think he has potential to do so.
Sure,
I agree.
I do too.
And I
think
feels
like he could easily be a Stephon Diggs.
Don't know about
we've already
that,
seen
but-
it from OBJ though. Is the thing.
I won't
Well,
go with
no, like a
Diggs,
level.
similar
Of-
case where it's like his stock keeps trending down and down and down and down, and then he has a year where he absolutely explodes and he goes kind of back to what his price was to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Odell. When Odell's healthy, he's one of the most talented receivers in football. That's just always been the case. So you can argue about how good the scheme fit is with the Browns, but when he's healthy, he's one of the most talented receivers. So I like that pick.
My other thing is Chris Carson. Jake getting him at 807. I think Chris Carson could still be a running back 1 this year too, if we're talking about different players that have potential. I know it's, we're in a startup, but getting a potential running back 1 in the 8th round, like, feels pretty nice if you ask me.
My team here at 106 doesn't have a quarterback though, so I don't know how it's looking.
Again, we weren't drafting based on teams though. Lisa, I have a question for you again, though. So you drafted Trey Sermon. You clearly value him above Michael Carter. Who do you think starts first, Trey Sermon or Michael Carter?
Oh, Michael Carter's going to start first. Michael Carter's going to start first. I just think Trey Sermon is the more talented running back, and I like that 49ers offense more. But Michael Carter's going to start first. He's already getting – I know camp reviews are bullshit, but it's like, who's his competition? Washed up Tevin Coleman?
Ty Johnson.
Michael P.
Ty Johnson is the main guy. Michael P. And I feel bad dissing the Michael P. because I loved him at Florida. And I think he's like an all right back, but he's not going to be the starter.
As much as you love Tony?
No, Tony. Well, actually,
I'm not giving up on Piron. I like him. I'm also surprised that Jake pronounced his name right.
I can see
Medellin, dude.
I can see Perini.
Medellin,
Medellin.
No, I can see him being the change of pace back to Carter being the starter. That's what I envision his role being.
Who are we talking about here? Piron?
Yeah, and Carter.
Dude, I'm not sleeping on LaMichael Piron. He was hurt a lot of last year when they needed him most. After they traded Le'Veon and they had no running backs. Like, obviously, here's the other thing for me too is that if they really needed a running back so badly, why did they wait until the 4th round? I mean, yeah, I like Michael Carter. I valued him better than a 4th round pick, but if they did too, he wouldn't have been there in the 4th round. That's all I'm saying. Like, I understand he's getting all the camp hype, but it's the Jets. Any new face is going to get camp hype. They went like 1-15 last year. Who the hell, what reporter's going to try and get clicks on an article hyping up a player that was on the 1-15 Jets? All right? That's ridiculous.
The Jets beat the Rams, right?
Yeah. Did they beat the Browns too? Did they go 2-14? Did they beat the Browns?
I think.
The Browns?
Yeah, that was COVID Browns.
Yeah, imagine not being able to beat the Browns. That'd be kind of embarrassing.
What the hell, man? What did I do to you? Imagine being the Eagles. How about that?
Listen, man. Listen.
Imagine throwing a game and your head coach quits, basically.
To be fair, I will attribute him being fired more to Winston the last game.
We're off track. Is there anything else we want to talk about, like with this?
While we're off track on that topic of ETN earlier, we should have a segment where we all just pronounce. We get like the hardest names to pronounce in NFL. Just have a segment just on first try reading them.
Oh, I think it would just
see how much of a shit show that is.
Yeah, it'd be Jake.
It would be me and Lounis. It would just be me and Lounis reading names.
I struggled with
Jake. Give us Jake. Give us 2 of his last name.
Tagovailoa.
You had it, man. You had it.
How do what I say?
I thought it was Tagovailoa.
Yeah.
What I say?
JT was definitely
the same thing.
I heard violin in there somewhere.
Are we good?
All right, let's do it though. Favorite pick, 7th, 8th round.
Okay.
Favorite pick, 7th and 8th round.
I was gonna hype myself up. I'm sorry. Deebo Samuel.
Deebo
Samuel. Lounis.
I like Cortland Sutton to JT at 708.
Thank you. That's what I was going to say too. And then I realized I picked him. I was like, oh.
I really like Elijah Moore at 8'10".
I like that one too.
Odell at 8'05". I'm a big Elijah Moore fan. So I think getting him at the end of the 8th. I was really torn between him and Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel, Michael Carter were the three I was between for those two spots. I even considered Elijah Moore earlier towards like 801, but I had Rondale Moore higher.
I like two of Frank's.
I thought that was a good pick.
I like two of Frank's picks here. He got Ronald Jones, which we talked about at 803.
Yeah, Ronald Jones is also.
He got the criminally underrated every year Robert Woods at the end, 811. I don't know where to put Robert Woods, to be honest, but he always plays better than what he's valued at. So I don't know why that's going to change when they get Matthew Stafford. So,
dude, what about Amari Schmoop at 702?
I'm not a big guy on Amari Cooper.
I'm not crazy about Cooper. Wait, who took him?
Heathens.
That's Frank took him. I mean, wide receiver 23 isn't like it's a good price on him, I guess.
It's not bad, but I still like I like Judy and Deontay. Well, Deontay Judy gets hurt. If you told me Deontay Johnson could stay healthy for the entire year, Frank, how do you feel? How do you feel about Deontay Johnson's ability to stay healthy for let's say 15 games? If you told me he could stay healthy, I would like him way more.
I'm not a fucking doctor. I have no idea. I like Deontay Johnson, though. He's one of my favorite players that draft at receiver. I still love Deontay,
about his capability to catch the football.
He's fine, dude. He's fine. Chill out.
Yeah, catches is what I'm never concerned about with a wide receiver. Unless Kembrell Tompkins.
But Algalore in Philadelphia.
I mean, no, I'm concerned about his catching ability. Like that's something I had a problem with him at school. I've had a problem with it every year in the NFL, but he can learn and do it, and it's obviously going to be a point of emphasis for him this year.
And he always
I think he's a good game. Dude, I think that a lot of these 6th, 7th round receivers this year are phenomenal picks. Like I think it's aside from Juju, no offense or anything, JT. That is the one pick I didn't really like it. And it's really not even that bad of a pick. Like, I think it's a decent value. I just think compared to, like, Cooper Kupp and Deebo Samuel and Galladay, I would have had those guys above him. But, okay, you took them 3 picks too early? It's really not that big of a deal.
Well, going back, I actually forgot. Like, I like Amari Cooper more than I do Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle. So, I guess I would push Amari Cooper up a little bit now looking back. That's all I really had. I like the Amari Cooper pick better than I had just originally said.
No, give me those 2 rookies. I think they're going to be really good.
We know how JT feels about Slim Reaper.
Yeah, I'm surprised he said that about Waddle though. I was like,
well, I no disrespect to Waddle. I think Waddle's right there with Amari Cooper. I have them right there together, and then obviously me and Devontae Smith is a different story.
Also another pick I liked, Dallas Goddard. I think he's going to have a really good season this year. I know the Eagles are working on an extension with him right now. He's going to be their tight end of the future. I'm assuming they're going to trade soon. I really like him. I think I mentioned before, I think there's a decent shot. It's probably going to be between him and Devontae Smith for who leads the team in catches. I'd probably bet Goddard. It may take Devontae Smith a couple of weeks to fully get settled in. Even like Justin Jefferson, who was best rookie wide receiver like ever, still he took like 3 weeks before he started really being productive. So I would bet on Goddard if he stays healthy.
Dude, Lounis, I'm really liking your 105 draft.
My 105 draft?
All quarterbacks?
Yeah, just nab it. Dude, you have a squad. You have a posse of sick quarterbacks.
We still got Dalvin Cook and Michael Thomas.
My one thing I'll add, I'm basically going to wrap it up in a minute or so. How many more picks until we got Julio Jones?
Very soon. Very
soon. I'm not taking him.
Wow.
Well, no, next round. I don't know if you. It depends.
Okay. Yeah. So it's not at that point.
Jake, I think round 9 is around where he's going to go. Round 9, very early, round 10, somewhere in there.
Yeah, very soon.
Jake, pick Julio right now so I can make my pick.
All All right, you guys got anything else to add?
I do not.
No? What was this, episode 39?
Yep.
Thank you guys for watching. I'm trying to think of.
I do have one thing I want to say.
Yes.
It's bait season. Don't be the bait. Don't take the bait. It's dangling all out in front of you. You know, you have bait everywhere. Don't take the bait. Say no to the bait.
I will say I'll shout them out because they're pretty good. Like they're very good at getting you with the news. NFL beat writers on Twitter, they retweet like every beat writer who's basically covering all the teams with different news and different tidbits that they have. But the issue about that is like 95% of the time it's unnecessary hype and like just kind of misguided information or kind of like biased by the reporters. Like we kind of alluded to it earlier, but like Tylan Wallace and Devin Duvernay are going to be like the Ravens wide receiver ones if you're looking on Twitter. But like,
don't disrespect my boy Tylan.
Okay, I'll just disrespect Devin Duvernay.
If you looked on Twitter last summer, Brian Edwards was about to have 1,000 yards.
I still believe in Brian Edwards. I still believe in Brian Edwards.
Yeah,
I think
Claypool is fine.
I think Brian. That hurts, but I still like Brian Edwards because he was not bad in his first game, then has a foot injury, and then just didn't really appear for the rest of the season. I just think
for a reason.
We talked about it though with a little bit with Antonio Gibson. Foot injuries scare me, man, especially with wide receivers and running backs that have to make all these cuts.
Yeah, but
they really scare me.
They're an issue until like they're healed and stuff. Like Deebo Samuel at the end of the year, it wasn't really scaring anyone. I love Deebo Samuel. He had the
exactly. He's a guy that I don't like to touch. So.
All right. Well, I'll cut it off there. Episode 39 in the books. Thank you everyone for watching, listening, like, follow, subscribe, comment, all the fun stuff. Thank you everyone.